Okay, so apparently Dave Chappelle had this show last night, and he brought on Elon Musk as a special guest. And here is what happened. Elon Musk is deleting accounts that post this video of him being booed for 10 minutes last night at a Dave Chappelle show. He can't delete us all. Retweet while you still can.
Cheers and booze, I see. Elon. Hey, Dave. Controversy, buddy.
Weren't expecting this, were you?
It sounds like some of them people you fired are in the audience.
See, not only do you have people stating he's deleting the accounts that show the video, this is what he put down afterward. He had put this tweet up yesterday saying, "My pronouns are prosecute Fauci. Truth resonates." And this guy retorts, "So does a crowd full of boos." And he puts, technically, it was 90% cheers and 10% boos, except during quiet periods. But still, that's a lot of boos, which is a first for me in real life, frequent on Twitter. It's almost as if I've offended SF's, I take it, San Francisco's unhinged leftists, but nah. First of all, it was not 90% cheers and 10% boos. We're watching the video. We're seeing what happened. Dave Chappelle is talking about it right now. He has to wait for the audience to calm down and stop booing so he can make comments about how the audience must be full of all the employees he fired, which is not helping Elon Musk look better.
Hey, wait a minute. Those of you booing.
And he says it again, all of you booing, or something to that effect, but he mentioned booing again. And Musk is just standing there like, yeah, make this go away, Dave. Make this go away.
Tough on the head, it sounds like.
Tough audience, it sounds
But
like.
you know one thing? All those people are booing, and I'm just pointing out the obvious. You have terrible seats, and I understand.
Then he says, just pointing out the obvious, all these people who are booing must have bad seats. So I've heard people state that that was supposed to be a jab at poor people. The fact that he's mentioning people are upset because they have bad seats must mean that he's making fun of people with bad seats because they were too poor to afford better seats. I don't think that's the case here. I think he's just making a joke. You know, if Dave Chappelle were the type that actually made fun of poor people, he wouldn't have gotten to where he is today. If Dave Chappelle were the type to make fun of poor people, Those people wouldn't bother spending what little money they have to buy a ticket to his show. I don't know what possessed him to bring Musk on stage. My guess is Musk probably wanted to go up on stage. And this bullshit right here, I've offended SF's unhinged leftists. We know why you chose Dave Chappelle to go on to a famous comedian's show. Dave Chappelle is not known for being a leftist. He's not known for being woke. Dave Chappelle is the guy who went up on stage and had like a 10-minute bit mocking trans individuals. Okay, I think this is a poorly thought out plan by Musk that completely backfired on him. He wants to be a comedian. He wants to get his hands into everything. Everything that gets somebody attention, everything that makes somebody more famous, anything that resonates with a crowd. I think he wanted to show up on stage with the comedian like he was the comedian's best friend or something. Despite the fact that Musk is not a comedian, Musk obviously is not entertaining. Musk clearly is not saying a damn word on the stage. Why do you think he chose Dave Chappelle's show? Okay, would he have chosen George Carlin if Carlin were alive today? Nuh-uh. Carlin probably would have spit in Musk's face if he were alive today. And it's probably the same with most comedians. He's not going to ask anybody else. Dave Chappelle would be his best bet because Dave Chappelle is specifically anti-woke because of that trans individual bit he did. And what do you know? The audience is going to feel the same way about him regardless. I have liked Dave Chappelle ever since the early 90s. Okay? I don't know what the hell has happened to Dave Chappelle. With that bit he did. I don't know what the hell has happened to Dave Chappelle bringing on Elon fucking Musk on stage with him at his show. But if somebody got me a ticket or invited me to see him, I would probably still go to see him just because I loved him. I loved him on Chappelle's show. I loved Robin Hood Men in Tights. Back in the Mel Brooks days, you know, it was just good, nice, happy-hearted type of comedy. And I really liked that side of Dave Chappelle. But I don't know. I have the feeling that he would probably be one of the only comedians who would agree to bring Musk on stage with him. And Chappelle would probably be one of the only comedians Musk could be invited to go on stage with. So this entire offended, unhinged leftist, what unhinged leftist would be going to a Dave Chappelle performance? You know, it doesn't make sense. You know what does make sense? That this is a guy who is not entertaining. This is a guy who is not universally loved. He knows he's not universally loved. He knows that a lot of people would like 5 minutes in a room with him if they had the opportunity. But he's still, for some reason, on this never-ending quest to be seen as cool, to be seen as funny, to be seen as popular, to be embraced by the public at large as some really awesome idol. And he's just not. All kinds of things that he's chosen to do, especially since he got all of his money. Even before that, but especially since he became the richest man in the world, all point to the fact that he is no different from any other greedy, selfish, narcissistic, awkward, cringy little piss baby. And you can see that right here. 90% cheers and 10% boos. What the hell are you talking about? Now you're going to look even more cringe by thinking you can insult people's intelligence. We're watching the video, Musk. We see what happened. And that's a lot of boos, which is a first for me in real life. So essentially, he's either admitting that he is the type of silver spoon-fed apartheid son whose father owned an emerald mine, who grew up and wants to continue to live his life as though nothing can touch him. Everybody loves him. He is not to be told the word no. That's like saying, he's offended himself because he doesn't understand how people could be allowed to boo him, to have the audacity to not worship him like a god. And then he brings up leftists at a Dave Chappelle show. They must all be leftists. You goddamn freak. Lying to yourself and lying to everyone. Free speech was always code for right-wing disinformation and hate speech. Elon hates real free speech. This is proof. Vox Populi say boo. People are complaining this video keeps disappearing. Fortunately, Elon doesn't own YouTube. A few hours later, Elon posted this. The woke mind virus is either defeated or nothing else matters. What the hell does that even mean? Does he think he's defeating woke-mindedness by going on Chappelle's show? What the hell is it supposed to mean then if you go on Chappelle's show and everybody boos your ass at Dave Chappelle's comedy show? Like the one comedic stage you thought you were going to be safe, and people don't like you there either. And he keeps deleting all the tweets, apparently. What is this? San Francisco Standard. I was at Chappelle's comedy show when Elon Musk got booed. Here's what really happened. Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise for the richest man in the world. San Francisco did not disappoint. In response to Chappelle's cue to the Chase Center crowd Sunday night, Elon Musk, self-appointed hall monitor of free speech, I like that one, joined the comedian on stage in what can only be described as a cringy ending to an otherwise strong night. A few stunned cheers quickly morphed into whistles and jeers before congealing into a sustained howl of disapproval. I was among the teeth-gnashing plebes in the nosebleeds. My buddy bought the tickets and offered me one as a last resort. All of his closer and more attractive friends were busy. I thought to pull my phone out and record, but then I remembered that security were forcing people to lock them up to gain entry. Some folks were sneakier. Chappelle, a legend in the game, clearly knew what he was doing in bringing Musk on stage. He basically was on the receiving end of the same scene and half-baked. But for Musk, the crowd's response must have been a bit unnerving, even if he is well aware that his unpopularity has surged since he took over Twitter. He did his best to ham it up. He raised his arms, gave a smug shrug as if none of this bothered him. Then he raised an arm again and waved in a very natural way all of us do when we can't reach something on a top shelf. Then he gave a Rocky-style double fist thrust into the air. Cheers and boos, I see, Chappelle said. Controversy, man. The crowd responded with muffled boos. Musk says to Chappelle, weren't expecting this, were you? The crowd responded with more riled boos. Oh. So what is that supposed to mean? What is that supposed to mean? You mean you weren't expecting this. What the fuck were you doing going up on stage during a live comedy show that people paid for? You know, Chappelle is not your opening act. People did not fucking pay for tickets to see you. And this sounds like he's blaming Chappelle, the guy who was nice enough to do this favor for him. Sounds like some of them people you fired are in the audience, Chappelle joked to a good amount of laughs. Musk found that funny too, but the awkwardness continued. All these people who are booing, I'm just pointing out the obvious, they have terrible seats, Chappelle said. The statement got laughs but seemed a bit weird. Even the terrible seats to a show starring Chappelle with Chris Rock as the co-headliner cost at least a couple $100, but there is a tier of celebrity 99.9999% of us will never know. Chappelle, Rock, and Musk are part of this exclusive club. And while the three of them, or at least Chappelle and Rock compared with Musk, would seem to have little in common, they could probably empathize with one another because only they know what it's like to be truly loved and hated by millions of complete strangers. Make no mistake, though, this was a strange way to end a night. Chappelle apparently concluded, I wish everyone in this auditorium peace and the joy of feeling free and your pursuit of happiness. Amen. If there was a winner in all of it, it wasn't Musk or even Chappelle, but Chris Rock. The man, dressed in an all-white fit and wearing a Prince symbol necklace, absolutely killed it. Then things got musky. Yeah, musky and musty indeed. And you know, that's another thing. He doesn't even stop to think, you know. It's like when you buy a ticket to go to the movies or to go to a rock concert, or it's most likely the exact same thing with a comedy show. You know, people are suffering in life. People don't do well in life. People take off, go to these places for an escape, okay? They go to movies so they can be propelled into a fantasy universe. They listen to music so they can relax and find their groove. And they go to a comedy show because they want to laugh. They want to have a good time. You know, it's some little modicum of joy in this shit life a lot of us are forced to put up with. A lot of us have to live. And you don't know. It's California. Some of those people in the audience may well have been some of those thousands of fired people. Some of the people in that audience may know somebody who's been laid off or canned by somebody equally as nefarious and selfish and greedy and spoiled fucking Musk. I would ask for my money back if I were in that audience. I pay to see comedy. I want to see Chappelle. I want to see Chris Rock. I want to see a band. That's like, it would be like the same thing if you spent a shit ton of money on a ticket, got all your friends together, probably had to drag a few of them out of bed because they're so depressed they don't want to leave the house. We got to do something. We got to have fun. We've got to learn to enjoy what we can in life. And so you go, you buy these tickets or give out the tickets. You go to see this band that you've been dying to see, and then right when the headlining act that you've been waiting for gets ready to go up on stage, they say, oh, by the way, this main singer or this lead guitarist or whatever is actually not really here, but we've got Steven Seagal on the guitar who's going to sing for you. That's not what you fucking paid for. And you worked hard for that money. You paid to see a show. You paid for entertainment. You paid for enjoyment. Okay? You paid to see a specific person or group of people up on stage. You don't want to be reminded again of how shitty your life is by seeing Steven Seagal put a guitar strap over his shoulder and ruin your evening. And that's exactly what's happened here. And Chappelle should have offered people at least some of their money back. Definitely should have. His go-to for everything the past 2 weeks has been unhinged leftists. People don't like him, unhinged leftists. Elton John says he's leaving. Account must not really be run by Elton, but by leftist staff. He's on a full mega QAnon Marjorie Trader Green right now. Every single statement he makes is Fox-worthy. Exactly. Fauci go-to for everything the past 2 weeks, unhinged leftists. People who don't like to prosecute, unhinged leftists. Elton John leaving, unhinged leftists. Bro, the GOP is unhinged and out of pocket, not these leftists who believe in human rights. I don't think unhinged leftists are paying to see Chappelle do stand-up. Yeah, again. Where did he pull these stats? Out of his ass. That's where he pulled them from. I have known people like that. There is something seriously mentally wrong with them. Okay, it's almost amazing. And some people actually admire it. They think there's a genius in it. There is no genius to it. It doesn't take genius to do this type of shit. What would take genius is if you could back it up with something truthful, and you can't. These people get nailed to a wall, backed up into a corner every time you hit them with reality. The only thing they have is that almost second nature, instinctual, like off the cuff, delusional, verbal defense mechanism. Yes, it is. No, it's not. They did this. No, they didn't. Oh, those people were people who hate me. They're just haters. You did this wrong. No, I didn't. It's like a mental thing. It's serious mental illness. And maybe Musk can be super, super famous and talented for at least one thing. maybe he could become super, super famous and super talented for being that guy who we can study to prove that when you're born into extreme wealth and privilege, when you grow up surrounded by no one but yes men, when all you hear is yes and never no, when there's no such thing as people who are allowed to criticize you or question you, or, dare I say, just tell you to fuck off right off the bat, and then there comes a point where you have to accept this reality, or you have to face this reality. Even if you try to dip your toe into reality like he does, it does something to you mentally, where you become officially broken off from reality. Nothing that you hear, nothing that people say, nothing that happens around you, which is reality, can get through up here anymore. You are essentially mentally and emotionally broken, disconnected. I think that's what we're seeing here with Musk. You see, when you have dictators, because I know people might bring that up, there are all kinds of dictators in history. You look at them the wrong way, you get your head chopped off. And they weren't necessarily born into wealth. Some of them were born into poverty. Well, these are people that already have mental hang-ups. These are people who are already mentally ill. They have something wrong upstairs. They suffer from severe, serious mental and emotional illnesses. No matter how they were born into the world, it's scientifically proven there exist such things as sociopaths. There exist such things as psychopaths, psychotics. Okay? And you have these people who are like that, and they seek out dictatorial types of positions. They're the ones who lead rebellions and overtake their government. They become appointed to these positions, and they become tyrants. And then, you're not allowed to, look at them cross-eyed or say one crass word, or else you'll get thrown into a gulag or you'll get executed. I'm not saying that it's much different, but from a different direction. When you've got somebody like Musk, now he's not a tyrant, he's not a dictator. I'm sure he would love to be one. Here's a guy who probably maybe wasn't born a sociopath, wasn't born maybe not necessarily psychotic, but now is indistinguishable from those types of people because of the way he was raised. Born into wealth, never heard the word no, always told his shit don't stink, surrounding himself with yes men, and maybe that's a missing link here psychologically. Maybe you can compare Musk's mind to the minds of these horrible historical psychotics, dictators, and you can say yes. Psychopathy can in fact be taught. All you have to do is raise somebody just like Elon Musk was raised. Now he's an adult and he is going to deny, deflect, lie, do whatever he has to do to take the attention off himself. It's interesting. I think it could make for an interesting comparison. For science, They should study that shit. You know, how does somebody like Musk get to be mentally and emotionally like Stalin or Kim Jong-un or, you know, Hitler or Mussolini or Pol Pot? You know, the same type of mentality. How does it happen? Well, nature versus nurture. Some are nature, and Musk is nurture. He was just brought up that way. And I don't know. I think a dictator would seriously be psychotic enough, unhinged enough, just naturally, that somebody looks at them the wrong way, they have them executed, they don't think about it again. I think Musk probably goes home and he cries over this shit. I think he isn't a natural psychotic. I think he has emotion, and it seriously bothers him when people make fun of him. But there's that nurture factor. It's because of how he was raised. It's because he's never been properly disciplined mentally or emotionally. So now he's going to pull this shit and he's going to go home and cry. I don't know. I'll be back.